presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Fox Sports.
Last night, the Rays rallied from a 6-1 deficit in the 8th, but fell one run short, dropping their second straight to the Pirates, 6-5. Today, left-hander David Price goes to the hill, looking to get the Rays back on the winning track. Today's Wednesday Showdown is brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. It's a quick turnaround from last night, the wrap-up game of the series and the homestand. The Rays entertaining the Pittsburgh Pirates. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an afternoon of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats with you. Todd Callis along in just a moment. Rays still trying to figure out how to defeat this Pittsburgh ball club. Tough loss last night. And this afternoon, it'll be David Price going to the mound. He leads the major leagues in strikeouts.
And he's been dominant. His last 4 starts, David Price has gone double-digit strikeouts in all 4. That's a club record. He's actually done it 7 times on the season. And he'll look to do something that hasn't been done since 2004, and that's extend that streak to 5 games. Johan Santana back in 2004 did it. David Price, he's been getting it done with all of his pitches. His fastball has been explosive. The velocity has started to creep up. He's been good with that pitch to both sides of the plate. And then all of a sudden, here comes the changeup, the cutter, and the curveball. David's been very, very good. Gives the Rays a good chance to win this game this afternoon.
Well, he's pitched better than that 5-7 record overall. And when you look at his interleague matchup this year in 2 starts, 1-1 with a 1.15, his career mark in interleague play, even at 8-8. So David Price will be focused on the Pittsburgh Pirates, but he might be thinking about his Vanderbilt team in the College World Series. Teammates talk about that. Todd Callis reports on Vanderbilt in the series after this.
Pedro Alvarez and the Pittsburgh Pirates at Tropicana Field to finish off this 3-game series. His Vanderbilt teammate David Price ready to go on this Wednesday afternoon. Early start, 12:10 first pitch. Of course, Price and Alvarez are very focused on today's game, but afterwards, they'll be focused on Game 3 of the College World Series because their alma mater, Vanderbilt, has never been in the championship of the College World Series. But there you see Price, 2005 to 2007, what he did, first overall pick in the 07 draft. And then Alvarez, 1 year later, the second overall pick in the 2008 draft. These two teammates realize what's going on with the Vanderbilt Commodores is very special. Here's Alvarez first.
Well, they lost a tough one last night, and obviously tonight will be a do or die for both teams, and it'll be a good one.
It'll be very, very special for Vanderbilt and Coach Corbin and his wife Maggie to get that first national championship out of the way with Vanderbilt. From whenever they got there, where that program was, and to where it is now, that's cool.
They'll be playing Brandon Geyer's University of Virginia team later on tonight, the final game of this best out of 3 series. Ask the announcers today on this Web Wednesday. You can tweet your questions to @SunSportsRays with the hashtag AskRays, or email your questions to sunsportsrays@gmail.com. Dwayne and B.A. getting ready for all your questions today. We're ready for baseball. Brandon Geyer, there he is. He'll be cheering for the Cavaliers along with assistant athletic trainer Mark Vincent on the Rays side as we get ready for baseball. It's the Rays and the Pirates. David Price against Charlie Morton right around the corner on Sun Sports.
David Price taking the field to wrap up this series and the homestand after his 6th win of the year, making his 17th start for the Rays. And let's take a look at the starting lineup he will face for Pittsburgh, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Gregory Polanco is going to lead off once again with Josh Harrison Up in the number 2 spot today in left field, Andrew McCutchen, the MVP in the National League a year ago, hits third. Gabby Sanchez cleanup. The DH is Russell Martin. Jordy Mercer at short. Neil Walker in second. Clint Barmas at third base hitting eighth. And Chris Stewart will do the catching at bat ninth.
Well, some pretty dominating numbers here for David Price, making his 17th start of the season. First of all, the innings pitched. Third in Major League Baseball, should take over the lead with a typical outing today. And then how about this? 133 strikeouts, just 13 walks on the season. He is a strike thrower. He is overpowering, and he does not beat himself.
So he'll go to work against the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are over 500 for the first time since the 14th of April. And they've been on quite a run. First pitch of this game presented by Pinch a Penny, and it's in there for a strike call. One thing we have seen about this Pittsburgh Pirate Ball Club, they go hunting the fastball. Polanco fouls it out of play. 0-2.
And with so many young players, that's something that you would expect. You know, young guys, they get to the big leagues because they can hit the fastball. It's a young group. It's an athletic group. It's an aggressive group. And the Rays have really seen that come to fruition the last couple of nights.
Between Clint Hurdle, their manager, who also has been a hitting coach in his career, and Jeff Branson, their present hitting coach, they had a great approach last night, VA, as you so quickly pointed out, against the Rays right-hander Chris Archer.
You know, they really did. For a team that had never seen Chris Archer, they had a better approach off him than teams that see him all the time, even within the American League East. And, you know, we talked before the game, and you kind of liken it to the fact, there you go, with that precision fastball of David Price. That's always a big pitch for him, the glove side fastball. And the fact that he can bury it right on the corner like this time and time again is what leads to a lot of those strikeouts.
Well, the fastball gets him looking. One away.
But no, that approach that the Pirates had off Chris Archer last night, it gave you the feeling, it almost looked like one of those home and away series where Chris had just pitched against them 5 days ago, and they knew exactly what to expect and how to go up there and approach him. It just gave you that feeling. It was very impressive.
Josh Harrison taking a pitch low. 1 ball, no strikes. One ball, 1 strike. Two balls and a strike. A lot of speculation around David Price. David actually has been somewhat forthcoming in acknowledging that. Foul ball out of play, 2-2.
Well, it can be distracting. It can be, well, it can weigh on you. And obviously, David Price, all he's known is the Tampa Bay organization.
Yeah, and says he has loved it here and said that has been on his mind.
You know, and as much as you try to control the things that you can, that's still, you're a human being. You know, and I was traded one time in my career, and it was during a pennant race. It was when the Royals got off to that great start in 2003, and I was with the Indians and going through the same type of thing. And as much as you focus on the job at hand, which is to go out and pitch, it's all around you all the time.
A liner into center for Harrison. Well, it's going to be there, and as much as you can be disciplined in your approach and your thoughts, it's still there.
Yeah,
that's just reality.
That's it, and you've got to find a way to deal with it. It's part of the job description. Not for everybody, and not under the microscope and under the scrutiny that David Price is right now, being the hottest commodity out there as far as starting pitchers go, and maybe he's available. But you know what? That's if you want to be one of the elite in the game, that's what you sign up for.
Yeah, that goes with it
Yep.
right now. It's Andrew McCutchen. Harrison at first with one out. Runner breaks. The pitch is a ball. That's a strike. And the throw just not quite in time. Lance Markdale, a little bit of a delayed call, but that pitch was a strike. It was up in the zone. McCutchen takes it for a strike, and Harrison steals his 6th base.
Boy, he had a huge lead and a pretty good jump off the lefty David Price, and this is something that this Pittsburgh Pirate team has done over and over and over again, especially early in games. They have sent the message. Stolen bases in the first inning of all 3 games now.
Man in scoring position for McCutchen. He's been so good in those situations. 2 strikes now. Harrison off second. Ball, 2 strikes. McCutchen 352 with men in scoring position this year.
Well, and he has been on a torrid pace here in the month of June. Swinging the bat extremely well, stealing bases, good power numbers.
A big cut. He's out on strikes. Cutter got him. 2nd strikeout.
Well, let's take a look at the Rays defense as it lines up behind David. A little bit of a different look today in the outfield, left to right. Brandon Guyer, Desmond Jennings, and Kevin Kiermaier. Across the infield, third to first, you have Evan Longoria, Ben Zobrist at short, Logan Forsythe, and James Loney. Jose Molina will be behind the plate.
2 outs now with Harrison at second base. Abby Sanchez against the lefty David Price getting the start at first base. He's dividing time there with Ike Davis. First pitch fastball is a strike. The Pirates last year under Clint Hurdle stopped a 20-year losing streak, 20 consecutive seasons of a losing record last year. Ended with a record of 94-68, the wild card berth in the National League.
And I know, Dwayne, that you saw that game. They hosted that wild card game against the Cincinnati Reds. They won that game. But how about the 20 years of pent-up frustration that was let out during the course of that game? That atmosphere in Pittsburgh was something else.
Pittsburgh sometimes overlooked. It's a solid baseball city with great fans. This one from the hole. It's short. Long stretch. Out. The call. Sanchez is retired. No runs. 1 hit. And a man left. We're headed into the bottom of the first inning here. And Zobrist got that one from the hole and short to retire Sanchez and the Pirates. coming in to hit. No score. Pirates leaving a man at second in the top half of the inning. And the Rays lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers finds Desmond Jennings again leading off. Ben Zobrist hits second. Now it's short today. The DH is Matt Joyce. Evan Longoria at third. James Loney at first. Brandon Geyer will hit sixth. Kevin Kiermaier in there in right, the seventh hitter. Logan Forsythe, the 3-hit night last night, eighth, with Jose Molina batting ninth. Charlie Morton's first pitch is a strike to Jennings.
And his pitch better than his record would indicate in those 15 starts. ERA 3.47. Not a big strikeout guy. Sinker ball.
A base hit through the hole between short and third. Jennings is on to start the bottom of the first.
Charlie Morton, the Rays, they want to see pitches up in the zone because Charlie Morton, a very good ground ball guy. He's got a 2.34 to 1 ratio. And he is a guy that likes to keep that ball on the ground, keep his infielders busy. And already in the situation with the runner at first, he has induced 11 ground ball double plays this year already.
Ben Zobrist. So we'll see how the Rays play this with Jennings at first base here. They'll try to get him into action early with Morton on the mound and his tendency to throw ground balls.
And the tendency to give up stolen bases. That's a nice combination. Joe has tried to run guys to stay out of the double play because that's something that the Rays, well, in a bad way, they've been very proficient at hitting into double plays. So Joe has put runners in motion, and this is the guy that you want to do it against. 10 out of 11 stolen bases this year, and you can see the ground, well, tied with Texas now at 73. So this has been a problem area.
And over to first. The one thing Morton has done, he's given up 10 steals in 11 attempts, but he does have 4 pickoffs,
which is really good for a right-handed pitcher. And that's because I think right there you saw Desmond Jennings leaning. He's got a good lead. Once you get to that cutout, you're starting to get into a pretty decent sized lead. And so he'll catch a few guys leaning here or there because teams want to get out and run against him, stay out of those double plays.
There goes Jennings. The pitch lined into right center field. That ball is beyond McCutchen. Rolling to the wall. Jennings on his way to the plate. Headed to third is Zobrist. And the Rays have the first run of the day. A 3-base hit for Zobrist. McCutchen made it a play, but could not catch up to it.
Yeah, surprised that he didn't. He had to go a long way. This ball is left out over the plate, and that's why it gets hammered. But he gets there and just not able to seal the deal right off the end of the glove. Desmond's off and running. And there you go. You just continue on. Once that ball gets by McCutchen, Jennings going to score easy, and Zobrist into third.
Matt Joyce. It's the Rays who score first in this game. A strike to Matt. And that has to feel good for Ben Zobrist. Tripling home Jennings from first. Pitch inside. It had been a bit of a struggle for Ben, especially with Ben in scoring position. Nobody in scoring position there, but he gets him home the hard way.
Yeah,
with a triple.
No, it doesn't even get that added benefit of the runner in scoring position. But you're right. You're driving him all the way with a runner moving, and that's the key. Again, the Rays hitters, they want to force Charlie Morton up in the zone. Ben was able to do that, and he capitalized. And now he's in a great position to score another run for the Rays.
Yeah, that's one thing they might be able to do if he's occupied with a runner at first. Try to be a little quicker to the plate. His pitches might tend to be up a little bit. This one behind Joyce, and Stewart stop that one.
How about that block by Chris Stewart? I think that look on his face said it all. He's not sure how he did it. The breaking ball completely screened out by Matt and still gets the glove to the ball.
Well, you know how we talk about that breaking ball coming back to you? That allowed Stewart to actually stop it. Once it hit the dirt out there, there was a little reverse spin on it. 2-2 now to Joyce. Gordon, 30 years old. And a cut and a miss at the breaking ball. So the curveball strikes out Joyce.
Well, let's take this opportunity to take a look at the Pirates defense as it lines up this afternoon. In the outfield left to right, you have Josh Harrison, Andrew McCutchen, and Gregory Polanco. Across the infield third to first, Clint Barmas, Jordy Mercer, Neil Walker, and Gabby Sanchez. Chris Stewart will be behind the plate. Look, this guy all over the place. Game 1, second base. Game 2, third base. And game 3, left field.
Evan Longoria fouling away the first pitch. Well, you could see the disappointment on Longoria, who made the last out in the game last night when the Rays scored 2 in the ninth and fell a run short 6-5. Been a tough year overall for the Rays, and Longoria sat alone on the bench in the dugout for a time after last night's loss. Bounces it foul beyond Tom Foley.
Well, how many times have we seen him come up in those same circumstances and come through with a big hit, whether it drives that run in, extends the inning, wins the game? You know, he's done it so many times. He gave them an opportunity to be in that position with a big, you know, 2-run homer a couple innings prior.
Ground ball toward short. Mercer has trouble with it, and the run will score. Zobrist crosses the plate. He was going to score anyway, even on the ground ball had it been completed as an out at first, but the error allows Longoria to reach, and Evan will pick up a run batted in.
Getting some help here. Jordy Mercer just never able to come up with that ball right there off the heel, and once it rattles around in that glove, you just never can tell what that ball's going to do. You think about the Pirate defense, that play by McCutchen, and that would have been a very tough play, but we've seen him make it before. Off the end of the glove. There was a run there. And like you said, this run was going to score regardless, but the 2 outs would have looked a lot better for Charlie Morton.
Gives the Rays an additional base runner with James Loney at the plate.
James Loney's been swinging a hot stick. Last 5 games, 4 of them have been multi-hit games.
Including last night, he had a 2-hit night. 1 ball, no strikes. He had a stretch with men in scoring position, just about the same kind of run that Zobrist had, but that has turned around lately. He's 1 for 21 with men in scoring position. 4 of his last 8 in that situation. There goes Longoria. The pitch is lined foul. Loney reaching out and fouling it the other way.
You know, this is something that we thought that the Rays would do coming into this game because, you know, the fact that Charlie Morton can get so many ground balls and double plays, and he has given up a number of stolen bases this year, but also with the lead now. Joe's going to be very aggressive. I think he's tired of watching the Pirates run on his team so much the first 2 games. He's going to look for a little revenge this afternoon.
Yeah, that's been the Pirates' game in these first 2 games of the series. They have been extremely aggressive. Moved to first and back in Longoria.
Right there, that 1 step towards second. Awfully close getting back in. The tag right on the elbow.
first. And that's been the attempt made by Morton to defend the base stealers against him. He'd be quick. He might catch some people, but his delivery time to the mound, you can see it takes him a while to unload his pitches.
6'5", you know, and driving the ball downhill.
Longoria takes off, and the pitch is fouled again, out of play, advancing the count to 1-2. Jennings and Zobrist across the plate. Longoria at first with one out. It's too close. 2-2. Morton now at 20 pitches here. Is that true? No, he's not. 17. 2-2 here to Loney. This one is fouled back down that left side.
Center field scoreboard having fun with numbers this afternoon.
Yeah, they're popping all over the place.
It really.
Check my scorebook and said, it doesn't add up.
See, and that's the whole key. We learned that a couple of days ago.
So 18 pitches now.
You've corrected them. They're not right.
And a foul ball again. So an extended at bat for Loney. 6 pitches so far to the Rays first baseman.
Well, you know, he's back in the box. He's once again balanced at the plate. You know, we've seen these last 5 games where he's had the 4 multi-hit games, him using the whole field once again. And so, you know, when he's swinging the bat well, seeing the ball well, he's going to put a pretty good at bat on you and make you work.
And ball 3, bluff of a start by Longoria. And he stopped. You can see Morton vacate the mound to give Stewart a clear shot at second.
Boy, it looked too. Evan was leaning a little bit towards second, and he got a pretty good jump. Now, maybe, you know, something after the first step or two caused him to pull up, but boy, it looked like he got a good jump on that. See if he's trying to get there. There he goes.
He goes 3-2, and a ground ball deflects off the leg of Morton, rolling toward the first base line, and everybody is safe. Longoria moving to second. He was off with the pitch, and Loney singles off Morton's leg.
Yeah, and you got to feel that ball got Morton pretty good, because usually when you get hit like this and you're trying to chase down for an out, you really can get going. But you can see Morton pull up right there. He's not even going to attempt to try to get Loney at first base. This ball looked like it got him on the inside of that right knee in that area.
Morton says he's all right. So the Rays have an opportunity to add to what is right now a 2-run inning. This could be a big first for them, with Brandon Guyer about to step in. Guyer drove in a couple runs with a single in the 9th inning last night. He had an 8th inning double and scored on Longoria's home run. Fastball foul right back into the screen. Buick, big matchup. See Guyer with a 5-game hitting streak, 8 of 19. Swinging the bat well before he got hurt. There's a curveball in for strike 2. Nothing in 2. I'm sure Guyer had to wonder, you know, he waited all that time for playing time, got hot, then got hurt. and has come back swinging the bat well.
Well, you know, when he was turned loose on his rehab assignment in Durham, he started immediately hot down there, 8 out of 20, and then comes right up here, picks up where he left off in AAA. But yeah, that's the tough thing, you know, because you hurt your thumb, your hand, you're a hitter. There's not much you can do right off the bat except let it heal. And you always wonder, how are things going to be when I come back? And he has come back better than ever.
Yeah, and you're right about that hand injury for a hitter. That's a tough one. Really one of the things that you think might still be bothering Zobrist. When he came back, a dislocation of the thumb, and now Geyer's hit by a pitch. 1-2, and Geyer is hit. Joe Madden's going to come out along with Ron Porterfield to see if Geyer is okay.
Well, this is the 15th, you heard me right, hit batter this year by Charlie Morton. That leads Major League Baseball by 5 now over Scott Feldman with the Houston Astros. You know, he's a sinker baller that will try to pitch in, and that ball got Brandon Geyer right on the right bicep.
Geyer appears to be all right. The Rays will have the bases loaded. Ray Series, the pitching coach for the Pirates, out. The huddle on the mound that has just broken up. Still only 1 out.
Now, the one thing that we know about Charlie Morton is he does not like to pitch on the road. His road ERA more than double of what it is back at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. And he is off to a rough start, not getting a whole lot of help defensively.
At his last outing in Chicago, he gave up 6 runs in 6 innings. Now Kevin Kiermaier with the bases loaded, fouls the first pitch. Strike 1. That's what you're talking about there.
2-5, 4.62 on the road as opposed to that 2.22. Very good at home. And you know, right now he'd love to see a ball hit into the ground, but Kiermaier runs well. It'd be tough to double him up.
Morton ahead in the count, 2 strikes. Fly ball center field. McCutchen to his right, making the catch. Longoria tags, headed to the plate. He will score. The other runners advance, and the Rays have a 3-run lead. Kiermaier on a sacrifice fly to center gets the 3rd run across the plate.
Well, how about that ball not that deep out into left center field, and the Rays on the base paths again. You're going to get the sac fly and score the run, but the other runners on base, Loney and Geyer, moving up 90 feet. I think the Rays have had enough of hearing about Pittsburgh and how aggressive they've been. They've brought their own brand of aggressive baseball this morning.
Logan Forsythe. Ground ball to short. Mercer up with this one, and the throw to first is in time. So the Rays send 8 men to the plate. They score 3. Ben Zobrist triple opened the scoring when he chased home Desmond Jennings. 3-0 Rays after 1.
the mound for the second inning. We caught up with Price before his start and asked him about how he is impacted with all these trade rumors swirling.
I don't think about it. I mean, obviously I think about it. That's why I've been in a bad mood for the past week and a half. So, yeah, I think about it. You guys know that. And it's, it's nothing I really want to talk about. I don't have an answer for you guys. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know when I'm going. So there's nothing really I have to comment on it. So there's nothing I can do to help you guys out with that.
So that's the answer to a question that we've had numerous times, especially today on our website Wednesday. You can ask the announcers a question if you'd like during the course of today's broadcast. You can tweet us your question to @SunSportsRays with the hashtag AskRays, or email us at sunsportsrays@gmail.com. Price was further asked if he thought this could be his last start at Tropicana Field. He said, I thought that at the end of the 2013 season, that didn't happen. Guys, back to you.
All right. 2-0 the count to Russell Martin. Well, the assessment by Price is right. He doesn't know when he's going or where he's going. And in regard to any further comments, that's about all he can really offer. And then he'll try to put that out of his mind as he goes to the mound and works this game today.
And that's one of those things that if you're David Price, I would have that little talk one time.
Yeah.
That's it. One time. Everybody ask him what you want to ask me. I'm going to tell you I don't know anything. I don't know. I don't know. We're going to leave it at that, and then that's the end of it. You'll know when I know, and I'm going to go pitch.
Yeah, well, here's news. A leadoff walk issued by Price on 4 pitches to Russell Martin. Now, that's news when Price pitches.
When you have 13 walks on the season.
116-plus innings.
And a 4-pitch, no less. That's only the 3rd walk for David Price in leading off an inning, and I would venture a guess that the other 2 were not 4-pitch walks.
That strikeout to walk ratio 10.23. Mercer takes a strike. Two strikes to count to Mercer. Foul ball back. Neil Walker is on deck. Firstly off the disabled list, and he was in the lineup last night, drove in a run with a fly ball. Pretty close right there, and you could see Molina holding the pitch where he received it.
Right, Jose Molina will do that when he feels like this pitch could have been called for a strike. He will freeze it right there, and if he feels it had a shot, he'll hold it there just a split second longer to give Lance Barksdale a look at it. Are you sure? Okay.
Ground ball. Zobrist. Forsythe 1, Loney 2. The Rays turned their 40th double play of the year.
And maybe one of their prettiest. I'll tell you what, from an unlikely tandem here. Zobrist at short, Forsythe at second. But up the middle, watch the shovel here and the bare hand by Forsythe. That's what makes it impressive. You're going to get an option pitch here behind Forsythe, the bare hand, turn, throw. That's pretty.
Pitcher always appreciates a double play behind him.
I'll tell you what, you throw one pitch and you get 2 outs out of it, bounce in your step.
Neil Walker looks at a pitch too low, 1-0.
A smart play by Forsythe, too.
as he's moving into the bag and the pitch is a little bit behind him. If he reaches back with the glove, he probably doesn't have time to contort his body around and complete the double play. But by going bare hand, he was able to do that, even though it's a much tougher play.
And I actually think I saw a relaxed and happy look on his face the last couple days. He's had a few hits fall in, playing a little bit more. It's been a tough start here in the first half for him. Getting a start at second base today on the heels of last night's outing in which he picked up 3 hits.
And the defense has always been there. He's been solid defensively. It's just a matter of getting his swing consistent, having some balls fall in for him in a 3-hit game. That'll help you out.
Wave and a miss. Walker reaching for that one. He's out on strikes. 3-0 Rays, middle of the second. Rays baseball on Sun Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. By Checkers, Big Philly flavor, small price. Checkers, Philly cheesesteak, and the new Chicken Philly. Each just $1.99. And by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. It takes conviction, creativity, and courage to build cars worth driving. This is the Mazda way. Jose Molina takes the first pitch. Bottom of the second inning underway, and that's in there for a strike. Molina hitting ninth, and Joe Maddon's lined up. Desmond Jennings will be next, followed by Ben Zobrist. Two-strike count to Molina. He had a 2-hit night last night. Drove in his second run of the year with his first extra base hit of the season. That was a double in the 5th inning.
Right up the third base line. And this is a nice turnaround here for the Rays. Disappointing loss last night. They were down 6-1 in that game. They closed late. In the 9th inning, they press, end up dropping that game 6-5, and then with a quick turnaround at a 12 o'clock game, they come out and score 3 in the first.
Molina takes quite a beating behind the plate. He fouled that one off his foot. So even when he's up there hitting, he's not safe. High popper. Walker at second base. And Molina's the first out in the bottom of the second.
And those sinker ballers, it can be hard. Right-handed sinker baller against right-handed hitters, because they'll try to run that pitch down and in. And with the way that the natural movement of that pitch is working its way down and in, and the swing of a right-handed hitter, they hit so many of those balls off their feet, their ankles. Not to mention that he's hit 15 guys this year.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, think of the punishment that he's responsible for. I mean,
truly.
He's hit 15 guys, and who knows how many hitters have fouled pitches off their feet, the shin. I mean, this man distributes pain. One strike the count on Desmond Jennings.
And you can see too that he works from the first base side of the rubber. So being 6'5", good sink on his pitches, he works all the way from that side of the rubber and lets that ball run all the way across the plate. And then the breaking ball, you see how it swept right there away from Desmond. That'll give you even more movement.
Yeah, with his delivery, if you're a hitter, you're almost thinking he's aiming at my feet to begin with.
That sinker looks like a left-handed slider.
Yeah, they're cutting the miss. So Jennings is out. 2 up and 2 down.
Well, here he wanted that sinker in, but even leaving it out over the middle of the plate, you see the late movement on the pitch.
Ben Zobrist opened the scoring with his second triple of the year in the first inning. Bats with the bases empty. 2 outs, 1-0 the count to Ben. Joyce would be next. Three balls, no strikes. Zobrist is aboard. 4-pitch walk.
Ben Zobrist with the triple in his first at bat. Once Morton fell behind Ben, they really wanted no part of him.
Well, Matt Joyce, who struck out on a breaking ball for the first out in the first, bats again in the second inning. Pirates got Morton from the Atlanta organization in the trade in the middle of the 2009 season. In fact, he came over from the Braves in the same deal which they acquired Jeff Locke, who pitched last night. It was an exchange for Nate McLeod, the outfielder. Morton 7-4 a year ago. Did win 10 games a couple seasons ago in 2011. He was 10-10 that year.
29 starts, an ERA of 3.83. Really his only full season. A lot of injuries in Charlie Morton's past. That is really limited to all those other years between 15 and 20 starts in a season.
Pirates signed him to a deal through the 2017 season. 3-year deal for $21 million. Cut and a miss by Matt Joyce. Just over 40 pitches for Morton. He averages just a bit over 16 pitches an inning. So he's over that rate right now. And a 1-1 count.
Well, the Rays did. They made him work in that first inning. 29 pitches, well worth that number. They plated 3 runs, took advantage of an error.
Sobers draws the throw at first base again from Morton. Quick move, it gets away from Sanchez, and that's going to allow Zobrist to advance to second base, where he is now in scoring position. Morton trying to be quick over there, and the throw down. That'll be an error charge to Morton.
Yeah, there's the throw, and that's really a ball that's got to be handled by Gabby Sanchez. That's a tough error on Charlie Morton. You know, you're throwing down towards the bag. It's right there. Well, that's a really bad error on Charlie Morton.
Yeah, Sanchez actually had that ball in the throw contact with his glove before it hit the ground.
And you listen, you're trying to pick a guy off.
Yeah.
So you're aiming the ball down towards the bag. And here's the throw. This is a fine throw. And Gabby just whiffed it.
Yeah, they might change that. I
should
think. Cut the miss. Joyce out on strikes for the second time. Through 2, 3-0 Tampa Bay. Move into inning 3 at the Trop. Hey fans, thanks to you, the Rays have sold out Papa John's bullpen box and other party areas for the entire 2014 season. Limited dates remain for the porch, and group tickets in general seating areas are still available. For more information, contact Group Sales at 888-FAN-RAYS. Good. Barmes takes the pitch high. 1 ball, no strikes. Chris Stewart, the catcher, next, and then Gregory Polanco. One and one. Swinging over that pitch. Breaking ball. 1-2. Veteran infielder. And there's the catcher Stewart on deck. miss. Varmus out on strikes. That's number 4 for David Price.
Well, it's David Price and that fastball on the inner half once again. And watch him tie up Varmus with this swing. It's late and just cannot get the barrel to the baseball. 2 strikes, looking out over the plate for something, perhaps the cutter.
Chris Stewart takes a strike.
You get the feeling when David Price is locked into both sides of the plate, it's almost like watching a video game. You just put the X where you want the ball to go and hit the button of the pitch that you want, and that's where it goes.
There you go. Strike on the outer part of the plate. And it's 0-2.
And that's why I think as David continues to mature as a pitcher in the game, with that command, the way that he'll be able to get ahead of guys and then put a ball 2 or 3 inches off the plate on purpose to get a chase. You know, he because of that command, he's so fun to watch.
Price checking with Vince Barksdale on the count, 1-2.
And it's rare that you find that command with his kind of stuff.
Yep.
You know, the velocity, the assortment of pitches, and the ability to put him wherever he wants.
And strike 3 call. Got ahead of him 1-2. That one in the mid-90s. Strikeout number 5.
You know, again, look at this. After the breaking ball, the fastball middle in. And that Chris Stewart doesn't even get out of his stance. And that, I mean, just he's frozen, truly.
So 2 outs with the bases empty, and we'll swing him round to the top of the order. Gregory Polanco. They have changed the error assessed against the Pirates in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Charge to Morton, and they've changed that after a review, and Sanchez, the first baseman, will get the error, his 3rd of the year. Polanco lifts a high foul. Geyer and Longoria on the run, and Evan, what a grab. Evan Longoria right in front of the bullpen bench, and then had to leap over that low wall just behind the bullpen. That is an outstanding play. Here it is again from Longoria, and the Pirates are out in the 3rd. How many times does a player who makes a great play defensively in the field, as Longoria does here, lead off the very next inning?
I can definitively answer at least one.
Look at this. What a grab by Longoria.
Yeah, reaching, knowing the distractions that are all around him, going towards that, that bullpen setup down there with the long bench, the low wall, and making that catch and presence of mind to hop over it.
And as the wonderful symmetry of this game would have it, Longoria here leading off the bottom of the third.
That ball is spinning away from him too. That's the thing. He's catching that over the shoulder, that difficult angle with everything out in front of him. That was something else.
Takes the curveball away. The count is 1-2. Evan picked up a run, batted in his first time, and waves and misses. Morton came back with a curveball and got him to chase it this time.
Well, Morton has that sinker, and I know that's a curveball, but at times it has that slider look because of the way that he'll sweep the curveball. And that's what he did right there to Longoria. Get him on the side of the baseball and watch this thing just spin and start sweeping away, and Evan actually runs out of bat.
James Loney shortens on the bat. Pitch is inside. Loney with a base hit in the first inning. So he is now 3 for 3 with a home run and a walk lifetime against Charlie Morton.
And so Charlie Morton, when he squared around, should have just put that right down the middle. You want to square around on me, go ahead. Maybe somebody will make a play. You swinging the bat does not work out well for me.
He pops it up this time. Down to third. Armas handles that one. So a strikeout and a pop out. 2 up and 2 down. Brandon Guyer up here. Guyer was hit by a pitch in the first inning. Shortens and takes the pitch low. 1 ball, no strikes. Play. It's 1-1. Two and one, a little bit off the plate. Chopper to third. And across to Sanchez. The Rays go down 1-2-3. We head into the fourth. 3-0 Tampa Bay.
3-game lead against the Pirates, and a couple of former Vanderbilt Commodores are in the house today. There you see Pedro Alvarez, 1 year after David Price. He was there 2006 to 2008. Price was with him for the 06 and 07 season. Look at the young David Price. He was there 05 through 07. Price, the #1 overall pick in the 07 draft. And then Alvarez, the #2 overall pick in the 08 draft. Those guys will have a keen attention tonight on the College World Series as Vanderbilt plays Virginia in a third and deciding game. Unfortunately, Clint Hurdle decided to give Alvarez a day off, so we don't have the head-to-head matchup, guys.
David Price facing the top side of the order here. The #2 hitter, Josh Harrison. Ball, no strikes. There's Alvarez. Hit a big home run in the third game, or the first game of this 3-game series here. 3-run homer in the third inning Monday. That's the one thing the Pirates still looking for him to get going. He's hit 12 home runs, but they think if he starts to hit a little more, and he did share the home run crown last year in the National League with the top 3 guys, and depends on how Marte is. He left last night's game and with concussion-like symptoms. We'll see how that plays out. But with Polanco, Marte, and McCutchen, now Walker back. But if they could get, they feel if they could get Alvarez back up in the middle of that lineup, this offense could really be something for them, better than it is already.
Yeah, it's dynamic at the top end, especially with Marte being healthy. When you go Polanco, Marte, McCutchen. The thing about Alvarez is, he's been established now in the big leagues for a number of years. Did have the 36 home runs last year, 12 this year. But his swing is so long. There are a lot of holes in that swing. So if that swing is not revamped, he is what he is. He's hitting 230 right around there this year. He's a career 235 hitter. So, that average is where it normally is. It's just, you'd like to see some of those holes either made a little bit smaller or tightened up a little bit. Because once you're around this league long enough with all the video and scouting that's out there, teams are able to make adjustments to you.
Yep.
You make mistakes, he'll make you pay. We saw that the other night.
Yeah, he'll hit that fastball out. That's what he hit.
Yeah. You leave fastballs middle of the plate, you're right. He will do damage on that. But still susceptible to a lot of off-speed stuff because of that swing and how long it can get.
Ground ball to third. Longoria's throw to Loney right on the money, and Harrison was out of there. Really, you would expect him to see nothing but off-speed stuff and breaking stuff.
He's a guy that you can beat him with the fastball in late in the count. You can get him leaning out there and tie him up with the fastball in if you have him set up for it. But you're right. Other than that, he's a show the fastball guy and get him out with the off speed. Fastballs in at the hands are pretty good to him, but you got to get it in there. And where he hurt Alex Cobb was a first pitch fastball in, which is already a low percentage,
kind of a roll of the
high
dice
risk.
pitch in there.
It certainly is. And because what happens is if it starts to leak back out over the plate, the guy's just, he did what he did.
McCutchen down to third. Longoria handles this. We were talking a little bit about that before, and you calling upon your experience from a couple of pretty successful pitchers in their own right. But you start in there, 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad.
Yeah, especially when you start in there. If you've got a guy set up for it and you can close him out with that pitch, that I got no problem with it. But a first pitch fastball in there, just think about it. If you get the strike, okay, I can think of a lot of other ways to get a strike without as much risk being taken.
Yeah.
A first pitch curveball in the outer half would be good. A fastball down and away would be good.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of ways to get a first pitch strike other than that. But if you miss with that pitch and it leaks out over the plate, what could end up happening is what did, and that put the game out of reach.
Forsythe takes care of the chopper by Sanchez. 3-0 Rays. Hashtag Sun Sports fan photo for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Rays put up 3 runs, 2 earned in the first. Carry that 3-0 lead into the bottom of the 4th inning. Kevin Kiermaier leading off against Charlie Morton. There's a bunt, and he hit it in foul territory in the batter's box when he made contact. So Kiermaier trying to bunt his way on and bunted it right down while he was still in the batter's box making contact with it. Here's a look.
I want to see another look. I am not clearly convinced.
And he made contact with it.
Well, I think it made contact with him. I just wonder if he was still in the box. Right there, couldn't bounce out. It doesn't matter now.
Out on strikes, caught looking. Strikeout number 5 for Morton.
And Charlie Morton has started to dial it in after a rough first inning. Good pitch here, a little two-seamer catching that inside corner. Look at all 3 of those pitches well located by Morton.
Logan Forsythe.
You could really see for Kevin Kiermaier that bunt becoming a weapon. Not only the one that he's going to take with him to the right side, but also, being able to push one up the third base line with his speed and ability to be explosive out of the box.
It would really give the Rays, and when he does it, it gives them an added dimension to this lineup, which really has lacked that, particularly in comparison with lineups they've had before. So that would be a nice addition.
Yep. And I just like the fact that he can get to his top speed in just a couple of steps. When you think about being able to do that, running well, putting a bunt down here and there.
Forsythe did go, and now he's out on strikes. Breaking pitch got him.
Here it is, down in the dirt. Logan, yes, he did, just barely. Lance Barksdale, I'll tell you what, he was emphatic about the bunt off Kiermaier. He was right on the money, and that was a close check swing, but he was right on the money with that one too. Someone had their morning coffee. By the way, that box of coffee, Arestas called me out in the pregame show, and he should have. But I went, on the way to the ballpark to get, coffee to bring in, and inquired about the box, because I thought, they just fill up a box. It's going to be fill it up. It takes 3 minutes to brew a pot. We're good. 15 to 20 minutes.
Really?
It was going to take. I was shocked.
Wow.
So it never.
Noon game. You don't have time to hang around for that.
No, but it won't happen again. Next day game at Tropicana Field, there will be coffee for all. You heard it here. Again.
Hey, there's a base hit the other way for Molina. A 2-out single. So Molina takes the fastball into right field, and on the heels of 2 hits last night, is aboard with a base hit in the 4th inning today.
Now sinker stays out over the plate, and Molina head down. Watch the hands right to the ball, used the other way. I'd say the Rays have done a better job of that, using the opposite field. You go back to last night in the 9th inning, the 3 hits they had off Melancon were all hit the other way. That's the toughest thing as a right-handed hitter with a right-handed sinker ball, to stay inside the baseball. That ball is always working its way back towards you.
Well, they're just trying to protect their feet and ankles.
Right.
That's what they're doing.
Hey, you know what? I don't disagree with you at all.
1 strike here to Desmond Jennings. Two.
That's a great example of that sinker down and in on a right-handed hitter. And Desmond is either going to swing and miss at that pitch. If he does make contact, he's going to smoke it right off of his leg.
Ground ball is short. Mercer takes it the short way to Walker. So the breaking ball gets Jennings. On to the fifth, 3-0 Rays. On Sun Sports, brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. It takes conviction, creativity, and courage to build cars worth driving. This is the Mazda way. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Visit us at Publix.com. And by the Florida Department of Transportation, to remind you to drive sober or get pulled over. David Price, so far, he gave up the base hit to Harrison in the first. Surrendered a walk to Martin in the second. That's it.
Leadoff walk on 4 pitches, and I think you get the feeling that David did it just to enhance the degree of difficulty.
Well, here's Martin again, 8 in a row now retired since that 4-pitch walk. And that pitch is a strike.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, because since then, he's made it look easy. He is in command of all of his pitches and all the quadrants of the strike zone.
Cut the miss. Well, he went from walking Martin on 4 straight pitches. He got ahead of Mercer 1 and 2, got the double play. Got ahead of Walker, struck him out. Got ahead of Barmes in the third, struck him out. Got ahead of Stewart in the third, struck him out. Do a first pitch strike to Polanco and popped him up in foul territory on that great play by Longoria. Martin down in the count here, fouls this one out of play. Martin up here, Mercer next, and then Walker. Still a 2-strike count. And he's out on strikes on the fastball. Russell Martin, strikeout number 6 for David Price.
Well, fastballs in, fastballs away, off speed, and then all of a sudden overpowering, mid-90s, above the belt, away and he just cannot get there in time.
Here's Mercer, who grounded into the 6-4-3 double play in the second. And on the heels of that fastball to strike out Martin, here's an opening curveball for a strike to Mercer.
That's what makes it not fair. Just drop in a curveball, exactly what Mercer is not looking for, and you're all of a sudden down 0-1 again.
Foul out of play. So an 0-2 count.
Again, you know what? Is it camp day? Or it's got to be summer camp day.
Yeah.
You've got all the little campers here with the Thunder sticks and the different colored jerseys. You got a World Cup field here today at this game. Constant buzz, noise.
Ooh, strike 3 on a fastball. Couple curveballs, and then here's mid-90s on the fastball. See ya.
That's a Parks and Recreation Day. Recreation for sure. Another well-located fastball. I'll tell you, he just can make it look so easy, the way that he moves the ball around the zone, changes speeds.
Bill Walker, liner into left, and that's going to fall for a base hit. That'll be the second hit surrendered by Price. Price had a run of 13 straight strikes, and then that one in the zone. Lined into left for a base hit.
Look at the breakout. You know, roughly right there, you're looking at 3-1 strike to ball. That is getting ahead, staying ahead, and that's winning pitching.
Varmus at third base today for the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's a strike. One. The pitch count has been great for Price. His range 78 to 94 today. Ahead of Varmus.
Well, you got to pick your poison with David Price. You know, we saw to Barmas just in this at bat. First pitch cutter to start him off with a strike. Here's a changeup at 85 out in front. You got to be ready for 95 on either side of the plate. I mean, just how in the world are you going to go about attacking David Price besides looking for a mistake, and he doesn't make many of those.
Strike 3 call. 3 strikeouts in the inning. It's 8 in the game. He strikes out the side, gave up the hit, left Walker aboard. Starts wide, finds the corner. See ya. 3-0. The Rays picked up all 3 of their runs in the first. Shield yourself from the Florida rain with the Rays umbrella, and you can get this exclusive item only by purchasing the Tampa Bay Times ticket tandem to the game Friday, July 11th. Get your ticket tandem now by visiting RaysBaseball.com/tandem or by calling 888-FAN-RAYS. Then Zobrist to begin the bottom of the 5th, and there's a breaking pitch in there for a strike. Ben has been on twice with a triple and a walk. Tripled home run in the first and eventually scored. High foul. It's headed for the stands. 0-2. Morton works over a new baseball. Cut and a miss. And the breaking stuff again. Morton with that kind of a 3-quarter delivery. When the Pirates first had him, he was more of an over-the-top guy. Ray Searage, their pitching coach, who's in his 4th year over here, a few years ago in the spring one time said, throw sidearm. And he tried to throw sidearm, came out basically 3/4. And he had a lot more movement on his pitches out of there. Well, he's adopted that approach, more 3/4 than over the top, and a lot more movement.
And to be able to pick it up that quickly is impressive. You know, you think about a tall guy coming over the top. You've got that Iron Mike look. Probably not a lot of movement. It's tough to command when you're a great straight over the top guy. Yep. But you get out into a more comfortable arm slot, which is the 3/4 out that way. And then with his size, long arms, good whip and finish, boy, the movement, it has come. And that breaking ball, he is really starting to rip on that thing. That is really an impressive pitch to go along with that sinker, the occasional split. And I'll tell you what, he has locked it in after that rough first.
A full count to Matt Joyce. Chop to first. Morton on his way to cover, gets there and takes the toss. Sanchez, 2 gone. In today's game and all season long, Tires Plus will be donating $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Evan connected last night. That home run in the 8th inning with Geyer aboard closed the gap to 3 runs. Rays were down 6-1, suddenly 6-3. And with those 2 runs in the 9th inning, made it a 1-run game. And Evan hit a fly ball to center to end that game with Geyer on first. There's Evan, 2 outs, bases empty. And he fouls a fastball back for a strike.
Well, we've seen Evan much more aggressive at the plate in the last couple of weeks, and that paid off yesterday. You know, that pitch that was down and in, a fastball, and the ability to take those hands up there and drop the head.
Popped up, foul. Stewart's going to have a play. Makes the catch in front of the Rays dugout. 1-2-3, go the Rays. 6th inning coming, 3-0 Tampa Bay. with a 3-base hit, chasing home Desmond Jennings. And the Longoria's ground ball bobbled by Mercer. It got a run home, put him aboard, and he eventually scored on a sacrifice fly by Kevin Kiermaier. David Price has taken care of the rest. David with 8 strikeouts today through the front 5.
And the theme are the locations of those pitches. Nothing out over the heart of the plate.
And he's thrown everything. He's had great command of his pitches today. First pitch to Stewart is a ball. He struck out Stewart looking on a fastball away in the 3rd inning, his first time up. There's a backdoor cutter on occasion. Had the changeup. Seen the curveball in there for strikes.
Yeah, again, it's the pick your poison. I mean, what are you going up there to look for? You just have to look for a mistake out over the plate. Right there, backdoor cutter after a changeup for a ball, then a backdoor cutter to get back to 1-1. You still haven't seen 95. And the way that David's throwing the ball right now, he's just not making mistakes. He is throwing to the edges.
Puts him ahead in the count. He's been ahead most of the day. He's had a couple 3-2 counts. For the most part, he has been up in the count consistently. Lifted into right. Kiermaier makes the catch. That's the first out of the 6th inning. Haven't heard from Todd in a while. Todd, how are you?
I am good, Dwayne. The All-Star game is less than 3 weeks away. In fact, the rosters will be announced not this weekend, but the following weekend. And here is our Twitter poll question of the day. Which is the most deserving Ray of being named to the All-Star squad? Hashtag TV1 James Loney. Hashtag TV2 Evan Longoria. Hashtag TV3 Jake McGee. Hashtag TV4 David Price. Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays. Speaking of McGee, it leads to our next Website Wednesday question, and you can tweet your questions at @SunSportsRays with the hashtag AskRays, or email them to sunsportsrays@gmail.com. They want to know what's the latest with the 9th inning closer situation. Who gets the save if it's out there today? Is it based strictly on the lineup, guys?
Well, Joe Madden continues to play matchup. We've seen a variety of those arms out there closing. And I think Joe's indicated eventually he thinks he'll get back to Balfour, but right now he seems to be content with the mix and match approach. So that means Peralta had a save the other night. Jake McGee. And we have seen Balfour close the game. He got one of the old time extended saves. Ball hit on the ground. Polanco is out. Forsythe to Loney. 2 up, 2 down in the 6th inning.
You know, and that's where David Price, that is his drive to be perfect on every pitch. You know, he gave up the fly ball to right to Chris Stewart. Didn't get the ball where he wanted it location-wise. Wanted that ball away from Polanco. It stayed more middle. He did get the ground ball out, but the look on his face, shaking his head like, that's not where I wanted it. You know, a lot of guys just be happy with the out.
Yeah.
And he's still thinking, I need to be better than that. And that's
a great state of mind.
Sure. Well, he's smart enough to realize that ground ball may have retired Polanco, but given another set of circumstances, missing your spot like that could be a double. And that may be the run that cost me the game. And so, you accept those things and you take the outs, but you're always thinking, I got away with that one. I need to get a little bit better. And that's always have something to shoot for.
And I think really all the great pitchers, all the great players have that mindset. No matter how good they are, they recognize the areas of deficiency sometimes. realistic enough to know that no one is going to be perfect, but you strive for that level. You strive to be perfect. And I think that's a mindset of the successful players.
Yeah. Well, you get a guy go out there and throw a shutout, or not a shutout, but throw a complete game and give up a home run. And he's going to want to talk about the pitch that he threw to give up the home run.
Yep.
The pitch that he left out over the plate, not the other 115 that were outstanding.
Harrison missed the fastball. That's 9 strikeouts for David Price. 3 up, 3 down go the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Rays lead 3-0. Is brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. From Tropicana Field, the Rays and the Pirates in interleague play. Headed into the bottom of the 6th inning. Rays scored 3 in the first and lead 3-0. James Loney in the box to lead off the home half of the 6th. Ground ball first. Sanchez with the toss to the right-hander Charlie Morton. Loney out on the first pitch. Morton since the first inning gave up a 2-out single to Molina in the 4th. Gave up a walk to Zobrist in the 2nd inning, and that has been hit since that 3-run first.
And really, it didn't even need to be a 3-run first. There's a couple of plays where defensively the Pirates probably thinking they should have had made a couple of plays. Andrew McCutchen came close to making a nice play in center. There was a ground ball routine to Mercer at short that was booted. A ball off of Morton's leg that he couldn't get to make a play. He's settled down since then and dealt. The problem is David Price has been that much better.
Yeah, since he gave up that hit off his leg, he surrendered exactly the 1 hit to Molina. Only other hit he's allowed. 1-1 to count on Geyer. Morton with 7 strikeouts in this game. 9 is his career high. And he's ahead of Geyer 1-2. Balls, 2 strikes. Morton had Tommy John surgery in 2012. The breaking ball as Geyer reaches out, pops it. That's going to be out of play. Pittsburgh starting the day running third in the National League Central. Another ground ball, and Varmus, the third baseman, throws out Geyer. 2 up, 2 down. Tuesday, July 15th, baseball's best gather in Minnesota as the captain Derek Jeter takes the field in his last All-Star game ever in what promises to be an emotional and unforgettable night. Special coverage begins at 4:30 on Fox Sports 1, followed by the 2014 All-Star game at 7:30 on Fox. Kevin Kiermaier. This is the first pitch for a strike. That had some extreme sink to it, that first pitch to Kiermaier.
You can see in the tempo that these two pitchers are going at it right now, that they are feeling it. Feeling so good. You want to get that ball back, get back up on the rubber, go right back to work.
It just seems to me that when pitchers are successful, that's how they work. You get into that rhythm, you can't wait to make the next pitch.
Guess what else it does? It speaks to your confidence level. You know what I mean? You're setting the tone. I want the ball, I'm going to throw it. I'm ready to go.
Yep.
I mean, it speaks to a confident pitcher, and it sends that. It sends that to the guys playing behind you. It sends it to the opposing dugout.
Well, your defenders are a lot more alive, without question. Kiermaier chases the breaking ball. He's out on strikes. 1, 2, 3. Go the Rays. 3-0 Tampa Bay. It's no runs on 2 hits. Moving into the 7th inning, our Toyota Dread. Pretty good company for David Price when it comes to that strikeout trend. Most 10-plus strikeout games in the team's first 75 games since 2002. Kurt Schilling and Randy Johnson double up for the Diamondbacks.
It speaks again. We keep talking about it, beating a dead horse, but David Price, 4 pitches he's featuring in today's ball game, just about every ball game, complete command of all of them, and the strike zone for that matter, moving the ball around, keeping the Pittsburgh hitters off balance with everything and racking up those numbers.
Andrew McCutchen leads off in the 7th inning. David Price right now with 76 pitches, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk, and 2 hits. Two and 0. McCutchen struck out on a cutter in the first, grounded out to third in the 4th inning. Fly ball center field. Jennings makes the grab. Leadoff man retired in the 7th.
Now David Price may be not in the best of moods and not wanting to deal with the press and all of these trade rumors and speculation, but he is obviously not allowing it to affect his pitching.
You know, we talked the last time out, there were a number of scouts here. Even more scouts here today. And they have to like what they're seeing. She figured they would anyway. You know, the history of Price and what he has done, is doing, can do.
This is the same outing that he had last time out, except for one hanging changeup to George Springer that cost him the ball game in a 2-0 loss.
Well, to Gabby Sanchez. The pitch stays wide.
That ball game, 12 strikeouts in 8 innings, dominant, same type of deal.
Double checking the velocity. Really? Line drive and a base hit past Zobrist into left. Base hit, 3rd hit given up by Price. Well, coming up Friday on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Day-night doubleheader from Camden Yards. The doubleheader, we'll get a chat with Jake Odorizzi. Appears that Alex Colomé is going to pitch the first game and Odorizzi the second game of that doubleheader. So Martin takes a strike. Cutter up the outside part of the plate.
That right there was priceless. Gabby Sanchez looking at David Price like, really? Why are you throwing over on me? I'm not going anywhere.
Hey, he is 2 for 2 in steals this year.
Well, and they've been aggressive.
They're going to have to get really aggressive again.
Yeah, well, down by 3. That would not be a smart move. Gabby Sanchez, that run doesn't mean a thing.
2 strikes to count on Martin.
Well, if only they would have given away Vuvuzelas today.
This is as close as they need to come to ever giving those away. Two strikes to count on Russell Martin. Tried to end him the way he started him with that cutter, and it stayed just a little off the plate. This one a backhanded stop by Zobrist. Out at second, safe at first. Zobrist reaching to his right. That's a fielder's choice. Sanchez forced Zobrist to Forsythe.
That was a nice play by Ben Zobrist. To his right, he's got to backhand the one hopper. Get that lead man Gabby Sanchez, Forsythe with the return, but Russell Martin hustling up the line.
David Price showing his appreciation for Zobrist's hard work.
He's having some fun out there today.
Yeah.
Having some fun. I mean, pitching with a lead will do that. Pitching as well as you are and seeing your defense play well behind you will do that.
Mercer a swing and a miss at the changeup. A couple of cutters, fastball, now changeup.
And what I know, and that's what, you know, he just is in complete command of every aspect of his game right now.
Two.
Oh, and he's been good with that cutter. It's been sharp. He's been throwing it hard.
Two outs, a man at first. We're in the 7th. And that's just a little wide, 1-2. We'll say this. We don't know when, where, if he's going to be dealt. But chances are it could occur. And the downside of that's you miss seeing this.
Yes.
He has been so good today. Still 1-2 to Mercer. Rays got 3 in the first. Lead 3-0. Price on the verge of making his 90th pitch of the day. 2 outs into the 7th inning. Still 1-2. The reality is that any of these starts could be his last start in a Rays uniform. Time will tell as this season progresses, really on a day-by-day basis. And all the scouts who are here today have seen nothing but excellence from David Price. Into right field. Kiermaier trying to close. Going to drop in front of him. Now the runner slides to a stop, rounding second. Martin, we've seen him do that before as he got up and headed back into second. And Mercer has a base hit.
It's the easiest way to do it. You come rounding around a bag and you want to put the brakes on and head back as quickly as possible. Just a quick little pop-up slide should do the trick. Kevin Kiermaier wanting to make this play, end this inning. Not able to do that. And here's Martin. He picks up the third base coach. That quick slide and get right back. You're going to get back to second base quicker doing that than you are trying to put the brakes on your feet.
Two on for Walker. So with this little situation in the 7th inning, the Pirates get the potential tying run to the plate for the first time in this game. And that's ball 1, just missed. He scored 3 in the first. It's all the scoring to this point. 4 hits now for the Pirates off David Price. One and one. How about that? The splits for Walker. Walker, switch hitter. One ball, 2 strikes. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Up to 95 pitches now for David. It's a 20-pitch inning. It's the most he's made in any one inning in this game. Walker fouls it, earning another pitch.
Well, these are those moments of a game where, you know, David Price during the course of this at bat, and you know what, Neil Walker for that matter, standing in the batter's box, they know what's at stake here. The Pirates have not been able to muster anything of consequence against David Price all afternoon. They finally have a shot here with a couple runners aboard. There's 2 outs. David Price is well aware of this, and so you've got a hitter locked in, a pitcher maxing out each delivery.
First time they've had a runner in scoring position since Harrison stole second in the first. Again, the 2-2. Shot to center field. Jennings going back to the track. He's there. Jennings makes the catch just before he made contact with the wall. That takes care of the Pittsburgh threat. Jennings went back to get it. It's 7th inning stretch time in the ballpark, and the Rays continue this 3-0 lead. Great grab by Jennings. In the top half of this inning on the drive hit by Neil Walker.
What I love about Desmond Jennings going back on that ball is he is running full speed. He takes one last peek to see where the wall is before searching back up, finding that baseball, and making that catch as he jumps into the wall.
Morgan Forsythe takes the pitch for a strike. Bottom of the 7th underway. Jennings continues to run great routes out there. He covers so much ground. Forsythe fouls this one off his foot. Jennings will be hitting 3rd in this inning. Able to track down that shot to deep center field. Desmond Jennings. Forsythe out swinging on a curveball in the 4th inning, grounded to short his first time. Hits behind in the count in the 7th. It's 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Side fastball, and the count is full. Morton in the mid-90s in his pitch count, 96. Price finished the 7th with 97 pitches. Forsythe is out on strikes. It's 9 strikeouts for Morton, which ties his career single game high. Let's check in with Kelly Nash right now. Kelly, how are you?
Great, thank you guys. I actually have our last Web Wednesday question if you're ready. Fans want to know, when will Wil Myers be back from that stress fracture in his wrist, and subsequently, what will happen to Kevin Kiermaier when he does?
Well, that's a question that's going to take a little while to answer because he's not going to be back for a while. And the interesting thing about those things, they tend to work themselves out, and while Joe Madden and the Rays staff may be thinking about that in the back of their minds, it's at this point not in the forefront right at this moment. Jose Molina with a count of 1-1. One ball, 2 strikes. See, 100 pitches by Charlie Morton. Cut and miss. So 10 strikeouts. First time that Morton has hit double figures in a game in his career.
Yeah, we've been raving about what David Price has done today. I'll tell you what, Charlie Morton, outside of a few pitches in that first inning, he's been very good also with what he features. The curveball been very good in sweeping. He's been changing the break on that pitch. Good sinker to go along with it.
Pitch tap foul by Desmond Jennings. It's Justin Wilson, a lefty, in the bullpen now for Pittsburgh. Morton is ahead of Jennings. Desmond opened the first with a base hit and promptly scored on a triple by Ben Zobrist. Just foul, backhanded by Barmes, and foul ground. Morton with 104 pitches. Equals the number he made in his last outing on the road in Chicago. Jennings started to go and checked. It's in the dirt. Morton has made as many as 114 in a game. Jennings out on strikes on the breaking pitch. 1-2-3 go the Rays. Morton strikes out the side. 3-0 Rays. It has been a fun day at Tropicana Field on the Mazda game summary. 3-4-0 for the Rays, 0-4-2 for Pittsburgh. David Price and Charlie Morton have been hooked up in this one. Price begins the 8th by throwing a strike to Clint Marmas. Marmas twice has struck out, swinging in the 3rd and looking on a cutter on the outside part of the plate in the 5th. And he fouls this one. How about this? Marmas, like a lot of these Pirate hitters with Price today, has been hitting from behind in the count. Marmas 1-2 in the 3rd, 1-2 in the 5th, 0-2 here in the 8th. 100th pitch of the game for Price is lifted foul out of play.
Well, David Price, with his ability to command his pitches around the zone, takes that aggression right away from a hitter. He immediately, because they're looking for something out over the plate early in the count. You're not looking to swing at that perfect fastball on the outside corner, but if he can continue to put it there and pitches like that, all of a sudden you're on the defensive. 0-2, 1-2, and here you go. Makes for a tough AB.
You got him, struck him out. Fastball away. That's strikeout number 10 to David Price, who had 12 his last time out against Houston. Now has double-figure strikeouts in 5 consecutive games. And the first time we've seen that since Johan Santana pitched for the Twins in 2004.
How about that? 2004.
Chris Stewart takes the ball. Here's strikeout number 10. Pop up left side for Zobrist. 2 outs in the 8th. The bases are empty. So the Pirates swing back around to the top of their order. One more Longo for less dinero. You have the opportunity to save big with Rays Flex Packs that select any 3, 6, or 9 games. Introductory prices start at just $49. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com today. Polanco taking the pitch down, a ball, no strikes. Polanco called out on strikes in the 1st. Up the right side, foul. It's 1-1. Price with 10 strikeouts. Every hitter in this lineup has struck out at least once, except Gabby Sanchez. Sanchez is 1 for 3. A couple of ground ball outs and a single. Polanco was the very first strikeout of the day. He led off and was called out looking at a fastball. Price ahead of him, 1-2, 2 outs, bases empty in the 8th. Fouled away the other side, out of play. Taking the first 2 games of this series, 8-1 and 6-5. Price has shut him out on 4 hits to this point. 2-2 now to Polanco. on the 2-2 for Price. He got him. He's out on strikes. Tried to check. Couldn't do it on the cutter. 2 strikeouts in the inning. 11 on the afternoon for David Price. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 3-0 Rays. Moving into the bottom of the 8th, as promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo to #SunSportsFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. Jason Grilli is the new pitcher for the Pirates. Charlie Morton departs after 7 innings, and he pitched very well. First pitch to Zobrist, down and in for a ball. 3 runs, 4 hits in 7 innings. 2 of the 3 runs earned. He struck out 11. Walked 1 and hit a man.
I'll tell you what, fortunate for the Rays that it took Charlie Morton a couple of minutes to get things going, because
That's
once
right.
he did, he was tremendous, matching David Price pitch for pitch after the first inning. But in that first inning, that's when the Rays took that 3-run lead, which they still hold.
It was Ben Zobrist's triple that scored Desmond Jennings. It takes a fastball for a strike. It's 2-1. The count. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Jason Grilli last year 33 out of 35 in saves for this Pittsburgh club. Martin Melancon had 16 last year on top of that. Team that won 94 games.
Really distinguishing himself at the age of 36 last year. Emerging in the Pittsburgh bullpen with 33 saves. He had made 64 appearances for them the year before with a couple saves and moved into the closer's role with those 33 saves last year. Full count to Zobrist. And fights off the pitch in on him. Fouls it, so we'll see another 3-2 pitch. And a lot of stops along the way for Grilli. He got to the big leagues briefly with the Marlins back in 2000. Spent a little time with them in 2001, and then back to the minors until Brief appearance for the White Sox in 2004. That's a base hit. Liner dropping in front of McCutchen. Then Zobrist has his second hit of the day, on for the third time. Really also had runs with Detroit, the Rockies, Texas Rangers, and then finally to Pittsburgh. Through all of that, it had a grand total of 5 saves until his big season last year with 33. Joyce fouls it back. Strike one. Matt looking for his first hit. First draws a toss back at first. Rays scored their 3 runs in the first inning. They had Zobrist at second with 2 outs in the second inning. And that's as close as they have come to scoring since then. Ball by Joyce. Fastball around 93.
Well, Grilli's going to be fastball slider to the right-handed hitters. Left-handed hitters, fastball slider changeup. Sweeps the slider. You can see his arm action is very short, so that ball has a tendency, you know, at 93 miles an hour on the radar gun, but it has a little bit of jump on you because almost short arms the ball up there. Very quick arm action.
Foul back. Mentioned earlier that Morton had Tommy John surgery, and Grilli early in his career, after those 2 short stints with the Marlins, had Tommy John surgery. That was back in 2002. He missed the entire 2010 season, recovering from right knee surgery. One ball, 2 strikes. Foul through the coaching box. Seven innings for the Pittsburgh starter, Morton. Evan Longoria waiting on deck. Joyce out on strikes. Missed the fastball up. 1 on, 1 out. Bust out your leg warmers and celebrate the 80s. Saturday, July 12th, the Rays play the Blue Jays. Then Joan Jett and the Blackheart perform after the game, playing hits like I Love Rock and Roll and I Hate Myself for Loving You. Concerts free with that game's ticket. Visit RaysBaseball.com/concerts.
Used to play Nerf ball with a buddy down in the basement.
Yep.
You know, get one of those small little souvenir bats from the Major League Stadium and then a Nerf.
Yeah.
And we used to have walk-up songs. First ever walk-up. I mean, we were, I don't even know, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And my walk-up song was I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you will especially love this concert.
You're doggone right. Not to mention it's 80s night on top of it. I know you're coming with the Flock of Seagulls hairdo. It's going to be a good day.
Here's Longoria. Pitch is high. pull that out of the closet.
Yeah, deep in the closet. You may have to rummage for a while.
Telling what will fly or drop or otherwise escape that closet. Runner goes. The pitch lined into center. That's going to fall in front of McCutchen. Zobrist heads to third. Longoria has his first hit of the day, and the Rays have a little threat going in the 8th inning to add to their lead.
The Rays thankful Charlie Morton not in the game anymore, and Evan Longoria, his ball middle of the plate, middle in. Watch him pull the hands down, stay inside that ball. Just kind of fillets it out there in the right center field, and Ben Zobrist, a good read over to third. Now just one out, runners on the corners.
You know, it's not the easiest thing to do. I don't care how much success you've had, how good you are as a pitcher. You come into the game after another pitcher has just shut down the offense. For example, here's Morton. He retired the last 10 men he faced. And you're right, the Rays are going good. He's gone.
You're right.
And now they have hit first and third with one out. And James Loney with a chance to add to the lead. Pitch up and a snap throw to first. Back in is Longoria. Stewart firing that toss down to first to Sanchez.
Yeah, that was a nice try there by Chris Stewart. First of all, he's got James Loney as a screen. And then watch him pop up, come right around, get rid of the ball quickly. And that's why you want Evan Longoria, anybody that's down there at first base, to get a good secondary lead. But at the same time, if you see the ball not put in play, you got to be quick to plant and head back towards first base, or they will get you.
2-0. Two-ball count to James Loney. Foul back fastball. 2-1. Rays Live postgame presented by Checkers follows our coverage. Our continuing coverage will see Todd and Arestas anchoring Joe Maddon's press conference. Kelly Nash will have interviews from the clubhouse. We'll review David Price, who has been masterful. Two and one to count on Loney. Again, Longoria back in at first, this time on the toss over from Grilli. A little looper into left. That'll drop for a base hit. Zobrist scores. Longoria, who is off with a pitch, advances to third. It's 4-0.
Frustrated Jason Grilli. First of all, Longoria off and running, and wait till you see the swing by James Loney. He's just trying to soft serve one. There's the release, the pitch, and look at Loney. Just stick the bat out there. Doesn't even really complete the swing. Put the ball in play and just drop it in. Good read here by Ben. And the Rays on the corners once again, and another run.
He picked that up, that RBI, and made contact despite the hitting Stewart's mitt to begin with. And then dropped a base hit into left. Now the bunt with Ben at first and third. And there's a strike on the foul ball. The Rays run that first and third with one out bunt. Trying to pick up an additional run. Murphy Wilson in the bullpen. Three runs in the first, another run in the eighth. Geyer down 2 strikes. Geyer missing a slider that was up from Grilli. One ball, 2 strikes. Grilli's excellent season last year interrupted with a flexor strain at his right arm in late July. Cut and a miss. Geyer missed the fastball. It's 13 strikeouts for Pittsburgh pitching. Kevin Kiermaier's due. Longoria's at third. Loney's at first. Pirates have had Justin Wilson back up in the bullpen. A look into the dugout from Stewart, the catcher, before Kiermaier steps in. Kevin, a couple of strikeouts on the day. Drove in a run with a sacrifice fly in the first.
Well, you worry here about, Kevin Kiermaier and being able to put the bunt down. He's so inclined. You see down there Clint Barmes at third base as they've got a little bit of a shift on Kiermaier. He's poised and ready to charge in, but we saw Kiermaier last time he tried to bunt. He tried to pull it with him, and he does have some room to maneuver over there. You start looking at this alleyway if he's able to get it by Grilli there on the mound. You think about, maybe Sanchez coming off of first and fielding that. If he does that, Kiermaier will beat him to the bag, and there's no way that Neil Walker's going to make it from where he's playing.
One and one. Really had Kiermaier out in front on that one to get the strike.
Joe Madden, as well as David Price has been going, always wants to get, he likes to talk about being in Grand Slam range, and he'd love to get that extra run to go up at least 5.
And he's going to bunt, gets it down, charged by Barmes, throw to first, safe over there. The Rays get their 5th run. Longoria crosses the plate to make it 5-0. Kiermaier put down the bunt, and that forced Barmes to make a desperate attempt.
And he was anticipating it. You could see with his setup, he's leaning in, and just a better job by Kiermaier to get a running start, lay the ball down in a great area, and force a great play by Barmes. He gets the throw. They're going to be close, but Gabby Sanchez is not able to gather it in. And there's your 5th run.
So the Rays make it a 2-run 8th so far. Back after the pitching change. Presented by authority of the Tampa Bay Rays and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays. Justin Wilson, the lefty, follows Grilli. He's on to face Logan Forsythe. Logan 0 for 3 after a 3-hit night in last night's game. Here's the pitch inside, 1-0.
Justin Wilson with an ERA right now of 5.08 and 28 and a third innings of work. I'll tell you, he worked in 58 games last year, and the ERA was a full 3 runs lower. He was one of the guys coming out of that bullpen. You can see he's got good velocity with the fastball. First 2 94, now 93. You think about teaming him up with Watson from last night. Pittsburgh with a couple of interesting lefties coming out of that pen. And they were both very good last year, holding opponents to under a 200 average.
It's a strike. It's 2-1. Despite that ERA, opponents still just hitting .224 off him. And right-handed hitters 186. Three balls and a strike. It's been part of the issue. 16 walks.
Yep.
In 28 innings.
Yep, just far too many base runners, and the time of the game that he's coming into, you cannot afford those extra base runners.
Forsythe lifts it foul, headed into the stands. That takes the count to 3-2. Men on base. They are accountable to Grilli. Swing and a miss. Forsythe strikes out. Rays are finished. They add 2 runs. We go to the 9th. 5-0 Tampa Bay. To the mound, David Price in the 9th. Rays lead 5-0. Price has limited Pittsburgh to just 4 hits and 1 walk. 109 pitches through 8. We'll have Josh Harrison to lead off the 9th, and Andrew McCutchen and Gaby Sanchez. Up here, Josh Harrison, Andrew McCutchen, Gaby Sanchez. Fastball by Harrison, strike 1. Two. Out of play, foul, 0-2. Price worked 8 innings in his last outing, made 116 pitches. 5 consecutive outings with double figures in the strikeout department. Upstairs, 1 and 2. 11 strikeouts in this one. He had 12 against Houston, 10 each against Houston prior, and then Seattle he had 10, 11 against Miami. 11 today to this point. Harrison reaching across and fouling that pitch, a breaking ball. McCutchen on deck. David Price facing the Pirates for the first time in his career. Up the right side, out of play.
Harrison not going quietly, fouled off some tough pitches after falling behind in the count, 0-2. And the story of the game, David Price 0-2.
Two again. This one he fouls off his leg. So Harrison has turned this into, to this point, a 7-pitch at bat. Got that one off his shin.
It looked like to be right above the padding too. Wow, yes. And there is absolutely no meat there. That's right off the bone.
Right now at 116 pitches. Fly ball short right. Kiermaier's there, and he makes the catch. Now finally they get Harrison after he fouled that ball off his shin, and he made that an 8-pitch at bat. So 1 out here in the 9th. And Andrew McCutchen is on his way to the plate. McCutchen 0 for 3. Foul ball out of play for a strike. With each start David Price makes, the question is, could this be his final start in a Rays uniform? He's been dominant today, shutting out Pittsburgh on 4 hits, 1 out into the 9th inning.
Yeah, regardless, you could not have put on a better show than David has this afternoon.
Fly ball, right center field. Kiermaier on the run, and that ball is going to get out of here. An opposite field home run. Andrew McCutchen hits his 12th home run of the year. Puts Pittsburgh on the board and breaks up the potential shutout. And with that, Joe Madden pops out of the dugout and is on his way to the mound to make a move. He had checked with the bullpen where Jake McGee has been. So on the 120th pitch of the day, McCutchen hits a home run to right center, and David Price walks off the infield.
The cutter was very good. Change up, some curveballs to sprinkle in. And he started to rack up the strikeouts again. You know, first time since 2004 that a starting pitcher has had 5 straight starts of double-digit strikeouts, and that's what David Price did today. And he got one on just about every pitch that he features on both sides of the plate, all over the place against this Pirates lineup, this aggressive lineup. It just took absolute control of the game. And the one mistake there to Andrew McCutchen, and he's one of the hitters in this Pirates lineup that can make you pay. The reigning NL MVP got him the other way. But other than that, David Price was tremendous.
And a tip of the cap, an acknowledgement of the fans, and met by his teammates on a great job here this afternoon at Tropicana Field against Pittsburgh. And he gives way to Jake McGee in a game in which both starting pitchers reached double figures in strikeouts. Price with 11. Charlie Morton had 11. Second game in the majors this year with starting pitchers both hitting 10-plus strikeouts in a game. Jake McGee throws this one a 94-mile-per-hour fastball past Gabby Sanchez, strike one. Jose Fernandez for the Marlins and Alex Wood for the Braves back in April. On the 22nd of April had such a game. Fernandez 14 strikeouts. Wood had 11. And today Price and Morton both double-figure strikeout totals. 2 quick strikes on Sanchez from McGee. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Russell Martin, the DH, is on deck. Two balls, 2 strikes. First appearance in this series for McGee. Jake last worked on Sunday in the Houston series. Worked the 8th inning, picked up a strikeout, gave up a walk in that one. A 5-2 win over Houston. Rays lead 5-1 right now. Count is full to Gabby Sanchez. Next up, foul ball. Loney will give it a chase, but it's out of play. Back. Fastball with a little extra on that one at 97. Sanchez working the count out. Rays scored 3 in the first. They added 2 in the 8th today, leading 5-1. And strike 3 call. Sanchez thought he'd drawn the walk. Not happy with that call of Lance Barksdale.
With the frustration boiling over just a little bit. This was a good pitch here by Jake McGee. Powers that fastball down and away. Nothing wrong with that pitch at all.
It's the second out of the inning. McGee caught the outside corner with that one. Now it's Russell Martin. And a strike to start him. Well, that was nice and easy 97 from Jake.
I mean, that's the thing. You know it's coming. Jake is going to rear back and give you that heater, but he's so smooth. And then how about that? And that pitch, he started working on that curveball in spring training, and we've seen it a little here and a little there as the season has moved along, but it's getting better and better.
Yeah, he goes from 97 to 78
with good bite and good depth. Yeah, good luck.
That's missed there, and it's 1-2. See if he did miss. It was close. Wow, that looked great. Boy, a perfect pitch right there. Two. Rays have led all day since the first. McGee trying to put it into it. Chop left side. Longoria gloves and throws on the move. And the Rays win this one. It's a 5-1 final. Rays take the final game of this series. Pirates get a run in the ninth on the McCutchen home run and settled for just that one run on the day. A masterful pitching performance by David Price, 8 1/3. Jake McGee gets the final 2 outs. Price will see his record go to 6-7. Charlie Morton, the losing pitcher for the Pirates. 2 hours and 51 minutes to play this game. And the Rays get a victory. They're 32nd of the year. Impressive against a very aggressive Pittsburgh team. A combination of Price and McGee ruling the mound for the Rays. And they supported Price with a 3-run first. And Zobrist with a triple to chase home Desmond Jennings, who had opened the Rays first with a single. That led to a 3-run inning. The Rays 2 in the 8th, and they win it 5-1. Todd Kalas on the field right now with Ben Zobrist.
Dwayne, thanks. Ben, you guys were able to jump on top today, getting those early runs for David Price. How much do you think that helped out? Because sometimes you've gotten the pitching and not been able to support some good outings.
Well, it certainly helped us, relax a little bit out there. David, obviously, he's been throwing so well lately. I don't think what we're doing offensively is mattering to him. He's just out there dealing, but it was nice to get a couple runs for him early and give him that lead and keep it all the way.
You guys hadn't faced Morton before. You got a couple of hits and a walk. He seemed to really lock it in after the first inning. Was he a tough guy out there?
He did. He was throwing all of his pitches well after that first inning, and we were fortunate that we got on him early and got that lead because he did throw really well after that, and he's a good pitcher. So it was a good win for us for sure.
Did you feel like you were due for a break? You hit that ball hard, but McCutchen looked like he was closing pretty quickly.
Yeah, man, I was just praying, like let it drop. Thankfully, he's a great outfielder, so thankfully he didn't catch that for me. But I was just fortunate to get a couple hits, and it was a good win for us, and I just feel blessed right now.
Ben, I know you play wherever Joe puts you. Second base, right field. First, it's shortstop today. Even though it's just a different position, is there something kind of cool for you to get back and play short every once in a while?
Yeah, I love shortstop. It was kind of my first position, so I feel comfortable anytime I go back there, and it's just fun to get back in that groove and seeing the ball from that angle. And it was a lot of fun today, so it was nice to make a couple plays for David and just have a fun time out there.
Made a play in the hole, made a nice another play to your left, and then you got to get a good view of a couple of other plays. Longoria going over to the wall, and then you waited for Desmond after his catch in center. That was pretty special, too.
Yeah, those were both phenomenal plays. Longo, I saw his shin going right at the bench. I'm like, oh, no. I mean, it would have been hard enough just to catch the ball, but to jump over the bench like that was just shows how athletic he is. And obviously, Dez closed on that ball in center so quickly. When it was hit, I was like, oh, no. And he really made up that ground quick. So, fortunately, we've got a lot of great fielders out there, and we had a great pitcher on the mound, too, for us tonight. So, it was a good win.
Congrats on the nice day at the plate and in the field. Thanks, Al.
Thanks, Al.
All right, guys. Ben Zobrist, back to you.
Rays are winners 5-1 here at the Trop this afternoon, and we'll be back in just one moment.